Hi everyone, happy pre-Valentine's Day. It is the day before Valentine's Day, and what a lovely surprise to receive these from my husband. So happy Valentine's Day. I'm going to put these behind me and we'll go ahead and get started. To celebrate Valentine's Day and his upcoming birthday this Sunday, I'm going to make him his favorite tonight. We'll get to enjoy it on Valentine's Day, but also throughout the weekend as well. And that is German chocolate cake. So let's go ahead and bring you down to the counter and I'll show you my array of ingredients. We're going to get started with the actual cake itself. We've got flour, sugar, milk, water, baking soda, salt, eggs. I've got salted butter, I've got cocoa powder, and of course sugar. And then over here, I'm going to make a chocolate coconut ganache just to top over the cake. And of course, what would a German chocolate cake be without pecan coconut frosting? So we've got salt as needed. We won't need this much, but I'm showing it here. We've got egg yolks, so there's 3 in here, a 1/4 cup of butter, evaporated milk, shredded coconut, brown sugar, and pecans, and of course, Charlie Poo down here waiting for nuggets. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. We'll start off with the cake batter. I've got my oven preheated to 350 degrees, and so let's dive right in. I've got my beater, and I'm just going to beat the butter. Perfect. And now I'm going to add sugar. There's that. And then Mom's homemade vanilla. I love that Mom is making homemade vanilla. So we'll just do about a teaspoon of that. Okay, I have to say, Mom's homemade vanilla is smelling more like alcohol and rum as opposed to true vanilla, but that's okay. We love her and we're going to use her homemade vanilla. Now I'm going to bring in 3 eggs. Ooh, that is nice and creamy there. Now I'm going to add 2/3 cup of milk, and then 1/2 cup of water, and I'm going to do 4 to 5 to maybe 6 tablespoons of unsweetened special dark 100% cacao powder. Okay, so we'll say that is 1, 2, 3. We're going to do 4 for now. And then we're going to add our baking soda and salt. Dump it all in there. Ooh, that's a lot of floating around cocoa powder. Okay. I should have mixed the cocoa powder with I should have manually mixed the cocoa powder in as opposed to beating it and have all the cocoa powder fumes fly up. So let's do this really quick. Okay. So 1 2/3 cup of regular flour. And to prevent it from fuming up and hitting me and going up my nostrils, I'm just going to manually do this really quick. And then I will use the beater just to make sure all of the clumps are out. All right, so it is all silky smooth. I'm going to taste. Ooh, that is really good. Wow, homemade chocolate cake. That is really good. Homemade chocolate cake is the best. All right, so we are done, and now we're gonna pour it in our cake pan. Oh, I got some on my fingers. Oh, that is good. Now that it's in this pan, we're going to pop the bubbles out, and what we do is we lift it about an inch or so, and we just let it drop like that. And you can even see the little air bubbles in there. I don't know if you can see it, but see the little air bubbles that came up. Yep. And that's all that you need to do, and we're going to stick it in our oven that has been preheating for a while at 350. We're going to bake it for 30 to 35 minutes, and then we'll do the toothpick test. If it comes out clean, it's basically done. So now we're going to get the other ingredients ready, like the coconut, pecan, frosting, and it's just going to be so good. So I'm at the stove top, and I've got my pan here. And we're just going to go ahead and mix all the ingredients, and we're going to turn on the stove to medium-high. We're going to add evaporated milk to the pan. We've got our heat on medium-low, and then we're going to add our 3 egg yolks. And we're going to go ahead and whisk it. Just break it up a little bit here. This is what's going to give the pecan coconut frosting that golden, beautiful, glossy look. That should be good. And you'll want to use evaporated milk as opposed to milk from the carton, because the milk will curd and evaporated milk won't. And then we're going to enter in our brown sugar. So this is starting to boil, and I turned down the heat a little bit to medium-low, and the brown sugar is melting really nicely. Now, I don't like sweet. You have to balance it out with salt, because if you have it too sweet, it gets that bittersweet taste. And that's why we have the salt, and we don't need a whole lot. For this amount of sugar, we're just going to do maybe a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And we'll want to make sure that all of the brown sugar clumps have melted, or broken up and then melted. But see, the color is just absolutely beautiful. All right, and then to give it some aromatic and nuttiness flavor, even though we're putting the pecan in. And then, of course, we can't not do Mom's alcohol-infused vanilla. We're just gonna do a teaspoon of that. We wanna make sure that we have the butter completely melted before we put in our pecan halves or broken up pecans, and then of course the coconut flakes. And we're using, for my recipe, we're going to use unsweetened coconut flakes because this already has a lot of sugar in it. And obviously if you're using sweetened coconut flakes, you don't need to put in that much brown sugar. But you can already see how thick this is, and it's because of the egg yolks. And the egg yolks give it that that sheen, that silky look to it, and it's just a beautiful caramel color. So again, we just put in, you want to make sure that you're using evaporated milk as opposed to the milk from the carton, because that will curd and evaporated milk will not curd. So that's the trick there. Ooh, It smells wonderful. And of course, we put in Mom's alcohol-infused vanilla. I am going to put in a little bit of salt, so I would say we're going to do 3 pinches, which might be a little bit under a 1/4 teaspoon. I don't like my sweets sweet without balance, and so without balance it's just 100% pure sugar and all the other non-savory ingredients. But for desserts, you definitely want that salt and sweetness, otherwise it's too sugary and it gets too bittery, and that is not good, unless you absolutely like it, of course. Okay, now comes the taste test, and of course be careful because this is super hot. Ooh, it smells like vanilla alcohol, but vanilla infused alcohol. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is yummy. And I'm actually going to put in a little bit more salt. So now that makes it a full 1/4 teaspoon. Oh my gosh, that is delicious. I have about 3 cups of shredded coconut, and then about 1½ cups of pecan halves. Voila. Of course, this doesn't look like 3 cups, but it's really under here. Okay, so we're just gonna plop it in here. Ooh, so white and fluffy and beautiful. And we're just gonna mix this thoroughly until it's well coated. You want it thick, so we're going to continue to cook it until that milk evaporates, which is funny because it's evaporated milk, so we're gonna let the evaporated milk evaporate even more. But oh my gosh, that just smells wonderful. Yummy. Smells wonderful, it looks beautiful. I love the color. I think my husband is gonna be so happy. Ooh, that is perfect. Yummy. Okay, so now that my coconut pecan frosting is cooling off in the snow because we had a snow blizzard earlier today, I'm going to put this entire bag, 10 ounce of chocolate chips, into the pan. I also have extra chocolate chips from leftover. I would say that this probably equates to about a 1/4 cup, so we'll just stick it in there as well. And there's no need to put butter into this ingredient of making coconut chocolate ganache, because the coconut cream is already, it already has coconut, natural coconut oil. So we'll just go ahead and pour. That is about 1/2 cup of coconut milk, coconut cream, coconut milk from the can. It is 60% cacao, bittersweet chocolate chips, so it's not that sweet, and this is fine. When we add the coconut milk in it, it'll actually diffuse the sweetness, so it might be bland, which you might like, but I do like it a little bit sweet because this is a dessert. So we're going to put in about, for this here, we're going to start off with a tablespoon. So that is a tablespoon of sugar. And you know me and salt, we're going to do a pinch of salt. You know what, let's do 2 pinches. Bing! That's my pinch noises. Bing! Oh, that is beautiful. It's looking very creamy. And you'll want to stir it often, because if you don't, it'll burn. And again, have your heat on low. Use a wooden spoon or a rubber spatula. That is beautiful. Look at this. Ooh. Ooh. Beautiful. That is done. And now we're going to wait until the cake cools, and we're going to assemble. When I made the cake, you saw that it was just 1 layer, but we're going to cut it in half and make it a double whammy layer German chocolate cake. All right, the cake is cooled and I've already arranged them into layers, so you can see here, right? So there's 2 layers, and of course this top bubble piece I went ahead and cut just to make it even. So we're just gonna peel this off, and ooh, it's so chocolatey. So we'll put it aside, and now we've got, right, the flat top, and here you go. Ooh, perfectly even double layer. So let's go ahead and arrange this. And I've got the pecan coconut yumminess frosting. And we're just gonna take this here carefully. And we're gonna set this aside. Let's use this to transfer it. Oh, and there's some niblets here. Yummy. Okay. Oh, wow. That is heavenly. Now, I've let the cake cool. It's still a little bit warm, so I certainly don't want to spread it vigorously because this is a delicate process. And the end result will be absolutely yummy. Little nugget fell over. My. I'm going to be full before you know it. Okay. I want this to be perfectly perfect in every proportion, evenly spread. Wow. Ta-da! This is the first layer right here. Isn't it beautiful? Gorgeous. Yummy. Okay, so now we're going to put the top layer on. Perfect. There you go, right? And you want to make sure that you pat it down tight. Well, not tight, but just so that way it's not lopsided, it's just even. Okay. So we're going to put the rest of the filling on. You know, I was just going to leave the filling on and then call it good, but I made that coconut chocolate ganache that I'm going to pour over this. Wow. I mean, who would not love this? It's no wonder it's my husband's favorite. Okay, make sure. All right, let's see. Ooh, that's perfect. This side needs to go down a little bit. Now that I've come back from running around washing my hands, oh, there's a pecan that's going to fall apart. I might as well just. It's so good. Look at that. Double layer yumminess. So how are we going to pour the chocolate, coconut chocolate ganache over this? I've got plastic. So we're basically going to wrap this around the cake, seal it with tape, and then pour the ganache over it. Okay. And you'll want to make sure that it's tight, right? Otherwise, you're going to have seepage out the sides of the cake. And then we'll just put tape on it. Okay, so now that this is all on here and it feels tight, this is what it looks like. Wow. And then we're just going to pour the chocolate ganache over this. Okay. Okay, I have my coconut chocolate ganache here, and we're just going to pour it in this little encasing. Oh, the chocolate and the coconut smell, yummy. And just carefully spread it, not to disrupt the coconut pecan filling like I did right there, but just spread it over like so. Make sure that your chocolate is fully melted. And swivel it around like this. I mean, for those of you who are more experienced in doing this, this is a no-brainer, but swivel, swivel, swivel. And the purpose of swiveling it around like this is just to get the chocolate even, like that. Right? Like that. Okay. Ooh, and this is what it looks like on the side. See? Beautiful. Yeah. So, if it works, we're basically going to lift this up and let the chocolate fall. Ooh. And of course, it fell unattractively, but that's okay. That is okay. I'm going to do this now. It has been snowing outside, so I'm actually going to take this outside and just let it cool off there. All right, our cake has cooled. So now we're going to cut it and serve it. Oh, look at that. Ooh. Here we go. Wow. That is beautiful. That is extremely delicious and moist and chocolatey. Oh my gosh. It's inside. Thank you for watching Polina's Global Flavors. This has just been a treat tonight. Although the cake design didn't turn out accordingly, the taste is absolutely scrumptious. There is nothing better than homemade chocolate cake. Homemade, not store-bought in a box and then mixed, but homemade chocolate cake, and it is just delicious. Have a good night and happy Valentine's.